Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well. This time we are going to be playing Galaga Destination Earth on the PlayStation. If you're wondering, yeah, I almost forgot about the name of the game there. That would have been fun. So anyway, this is kind of an interesting story. I really like the opening cutscene here. It makes me feel like I'm watching like a 50s sci-fi movie or something like that. But yeah, it talks about how back in 1981, the Galaga invaded, and then we defeated them, and Earth started moving out. We started colonizing and everything, and somehow the Galaga came back. So now we have to go and fight them off again. Which, fair enough. I didn't necessarily need a reason why why the Galaga were coming back. I also didn't know that they were the Galaga and not just, I don't know, like Galaxian, like the first one. I'm glad they dropped a plus, because that was kind of a stupid name. But here we are, fighting the Galaga again. And yeah, I do have some issues with this game that I'll get into later. I've probably gone on longer than I need to with the story and everything. I just really liked this cutscene. I thought it was really cool. So the gameplay is kind of, how can I put this? It's kind of odd. It's yeah, it's just very weird. You're doing what you would normally do with a lot of other shooters. You're blowing up enemies, you're collecting power-ups. Occasionally it'll throw a mission at you. It's pretty fun. For the most part, at least in these first couple of sections. I would have been perfectly happy if this was the whole game, to be honest with you. If we were just playing like an updated version of Galaga with like maybe a few twists to it, maybe switching to a side-scrolling shooter instead of this vertical shooter. But no, this it doesn't stay this way. This Galaga likes to change the perspective and everything. So you get some that are side-scrolling shooters, and then you get some that are third-person shooters. It basically feels like I'm playing a terrible version of Space Harrier. I really, really hate it when it shifts into this perspective, because it just feels like the hit detection is off. It feels like, you don't really have that much control. The power-ups are a pain in the ass to get a hold of. It's just really goddamn annoying. There's also way too much shit on the screen. Like I mentioned in the gameplay, there is way too much shit here. Like, the screen is just packed with garbage. And sometimes it's hard to see where the enemies are, what they're actually doing. It's hard to see what you're supposed to avoid and the stuff that you can kind of ignore. It's hard to get your shots lined up because it feels like the hit detection is off. It's hard to collect the power-ups because, again, the hit detection feels like it's off. It's just really goddamn annoying. I don't understand why they decided to have it switch perspectives like it does, but it's just really kind of a pain. All of that being said, I think the enemies are kind of cool. I do think that it's kind of fun that it keeps, it does keep like the formations and everything, so the enemies will fly onto the screen in formation, they'll fly off in formation. It's kind of awesome in that way, but then you start playing it and stuff goes to shit real fast. And I'm sorry for swearing as much as I am, but God, I was getting annoyed by playing this. If they had just stuck with, just two ways of doing things, it would have been perfectly fine, and I would have been completely happy with it. But no, they didn't. I do like how they bring some little portals out so you can see the enemies coming through those portals and entering onto the combat zone. It makes it feel a little bit nicer. It's kind of strange how they just up and disappear at some points. I don't get that at all. I think overall the art style is fine, but it does have some issues. I talked about a few of these already, but I really hate when it switches perspectives, especially when it goes into third person like this. It's just really, really annoying for me. Some people probably really like it, and if you can do it well, it's pretty good. But here, I just don't think they did a good job with it. It's just very hard to line everything up. The PlayStation controller does not necessarily respond that well when you're trying to make very precise movements. It feels like you need to be on the exact spot whenever you're shooting, and sometimes that's just not possible. I do like that they give you some missions in this, but it is such a pain to try to actually complete these objectives because of the hit detection being as awful as it is. There were times when I thought I was collecting these pods, and it turns out that I was just completely missing them entirely. It sucked. Like, I thought I was on target to actually collect the stupid things, but I was just totally off. It got bad really quick. So, what are my final thoughts on this? Well, I really don't like this version of Galaga. I still prefer like the top-down shooter version. So the one back in 1981, all of the graphical updates between 81 and basically this, I think are pretty good. There's just something about this. If they had stuck with one perspective, that would have been fine. But switching between them is just god-awful. The game had a lot of really great ideas. Some of them worked for me, but most of them just really did not work out that well. So it's an okay game, but there's just nothing there that really makes me want to play it again. That's going to wrap things up. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.